When we think of queer, LGBTQ, or simply gay cartoons, you get the usual suspects of Steven Universe, The Owl House, Kipo, and however, we seem to forget that the 2000s wasn't shy of showing queer media too, and while most of them were live action, there was one specific queer cartoon that made waves even as an online animation that unfortunately I found out 23 years too late, and that show is Queer Duck.
Queer Duck, he's intellectual. Queer Duck, he's homosexual. Please don't.
Okay, I already know what most of you are gonna say. You're probably gonna rush to the comments and ask,
what the hell is this?
As people are gonna automatically think, like I did, that this is some weird Newgrounds animation you found or some Mad TV skit. And believe me when I said it, I thought so too. In fact, when I thought of the phrase Queer Duck, I either thought of A, the Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, I haven't played much of it, B, Darkwing Duck because he and Launchpad had a thing in 17, you can't deny it, or Duck from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, since no one has shut up about that show since it came out. Not that I blamed them, of course it's good. I think the most surprising thing about this cartoon is that although I found it on my TikTok feed literally one random day, I found out this show actually aired on TV, let alone next to one of the biggest queer shows of all time. So I'm just thinking, what? This is a legitimate thing? And yeah, so now I'm going to go into this deep dive of this obscure cartoon show because it's queer and I like queer stuff. Watch my last video, it's also queer. Anyway, the first question I want to answer is, well, what the hell is Queer Duck? Well, Queer Duck is an internet online cartoon done in Flash, yeah, Flash, and made by Mike Rice. Yep, you heard me, the Mike Rice. You know, the same guy who made The Critic and early episodes of The Simpsons? Yep, Mike Rice. He created it, and the show was produced by Icebox TV. It's a very old online animation studio that wanted to go online to be free to create whatever animation they wanted. Queer Duck was their biggest hit, and was even able to be featured on Showtime. For how big of a deal this was to be in gay media, you guys remember Queer as Folk 2000? It used to air alongside, usually after an episode aired. To air alongside the number one, well, practically the only queer show at the time aside from the L Word. Psst, psst, put a bookmark on Queer as Folk and the L Word. We're gonna get back to them soon. Maybe later in a few videos. Definitely put a bookmark on it, okay? Okay. Of all time is a big deal for a gay show about gay people. However, after it ended and a movie, it disappeared without a trace until people on TikTok found it. So in order to never let that happen again, I decided to make a video on it. We're going to look into Queer Duck with a theme song sung by RuPaul. Queer Duck, with many notable voice actors on board like Maurice LaMarche, Billy West, and Kevin Michael Richardson. Let's talk about the queer world of Queer Ducks. Queer Duck is, well, exactly what you think. It's a queer duck that goes on adventures and has silly moments with his friends named Openly Gator, Bipolar Bear, and Oscar Wildcat. Nice reference. The episodes are usually 3 to 5 minutes, and the butt of the joke is that they're gay and they fight homophobes. Yeah, as you can tell, Queer Duck is not meant to be taken seriously, and it's meant to be a goofy, wacky cartoon that captures the energy of being gay with the mixture of old Bugs Bunny or Disney cartoons. Each episode has a segment about the gay life of the 2000s and the jokes around it, such as Coming Out Day, actual hate crimes, fighting off Anita Bryant clone number 1,200, 300, oh my god, how many have we had, going to Morocco, and worshipping the great goddess Barbara Streisand. You might think it's all stereotypes and bad, and you might come to me and say that it's shallow and not worth checking out, like Q-Force. Oh, I forgot that show existed. Well, you see, the difference is, unlike Q-Force, 1, it's actually funny. 2, Queer Duck does something with its stereotypes. Oh, and speaking of Q-Force, on an update, Patrick, my friend who I was talking about, he has watched Queer Duck and he's probably watching this video now. Hi, Patrick, but he still has not bought King of Fighters, and that's a big crime, especially when they just added Shingo Yabuki. Come on, how can you say no to Shingo Yabuki? Queer Duck as a stereotype does stuff with his character. His flamboyancy and promiscuity is meant to be put at odds with his homophobic parents, passive-aggressive brother, his naive nephew, and other people he interacts with. They are able to talk about sensitive gay-related subjects while also keeping it in tune to the Looney Tunes-esque jokes they're trying to do. The show wanted to show the good and bad side of gay life in a comical, cartoony, and animated way. Q-Force, on the other hand, just took the same stereotypical and shallow jokes that the queer community is usually associated with and just ran with it. They don't do anything with their jokes, they don't dive deeper into the queer struggles except the usual identity of being queer, haha, get it, or just making jokes that clearly don't make sense or just fly over anyone's heads. I said this before, watch my other video on it prior. Every joke Q-Force has done, Queer Duck did it better 20 years ago, and that's kind of embarrassing considering Q-Force has a lot more legroom than Queer Duck. I'll get to that in a sec. But hey, it's okay because it's spies! Also, one thing Queer Duck did better, we didn't have to see a single person naked every episode to know it's an LGBTQ show. Yes, you can argue that animals are technically naked because, you know, it's like that, but cartoon logic here, it's animals, we're not going to get into that. Go argue on some other website or whatever for that. Comparison to other bad queer adult show aside, another thing that makes Queer Duck special is that it's a time capsule. You see, all of those shows I mentioned earlier in the video, they were made in the late 2010s to early 2020s, which was a way more accepting time for LGBTQ people and allowed for more nuance and discussion about queer identities in the media without scrutiny or big backlash. Queer Duck, however, was produced in 1999 until 2002, and the movie released in 2006. At the time, the only real queer-centric media we had were Queer as Folk and the L Word, live-action shows. Queer Duck's jokes come from the theme and subject matter about being gay and gay culture and homophobia that was rampant in the 2000s. Queer Duck was different. Queer Duck was a shiny rainbow that stood out among the many adult animations that were being created in the early 2000s, and considering the roster of adult animation shows today, it still stands out. Duncanville.
Let's design your penis.
Queer Duck was important because it was the first glimpse into gay life that street audiences saw in a cartoony light that wasn't meant to be realistic. Yes, we all know Queer Duck is not the first character that's gay ever, but if he was bought by Disney, he'd be the first openly gay character. We're on to them. However, the charm of Queer Duck is the show, despite being made by heterosexual and cisgendered producers, is that it wanted to be about gay life and bring up the joys and faults of it. Queer Duck never goes out of the way to make gay people the butt of the joke or to laugh at gay people's suffering or pain. In fact, most of the time it's laughing at the homophobes and making them the butt of the joke, i.e. Queer Duck making conversion therapy a Broadway show and going to heaven to smite those who say gay people go to hell, to even his homophobic mother becoming a roasted duck. Yeah. Queer Duck wasn't made by queer producers or writers, but it was made with as much care and love as if it was, and this is best evident in the movie. At first, I expected it to be a grand finale to a show that was abruptly cancelled and deserved so much more, only for it to be a big disappointment and let down with ugly animation and terrible storytelling drawn together. But Queer Duck surprised me. In fact, I dare say it took everything good about the show and upped the notches to make it even better. Adding funny celebrity jokes that made sense, or don't. I really don't know why Clarence is here, but I love it. Hi, Clarence. Conversion therapy and how it sucks, and also foiling a plan to wipe out the gay population. It's awful, and some jokes are dated, but that's true for the show, but it's funny, and they even do more for the characters in a gay way. For example, Oscar Wildcat having an arc of reuniting with the drag queen and being confused about his sexuality and life with Queer Duck, Bipolar Bear being able to shine in baseball after being neglected for so long, and openly Gator and Queer Duck figuring out their relationship as Queer Duck contemplates his identity and how much he doesn't want to be gay anymore. Despite it coming off as dated and a little weird, Queer Duck marrying Lola or questioning his sexuality never rubbed me off in the wrong way, and honestly, I liked it. The idea of a gay character exploring his sexuality is rare on screen, and seeing Queer Duck do that is not offensive or bad at all. It's natural, and as people get old and just try to see new things, people change, and there's nothing wrong with that. They handle it well and depict it as a queer person exploring something they may or may not know about themselves or want to change in life. It also delves into the gratitude that gays have nowadays with society being more open and not living in fear like they used to. This movie helps Queer Duck realize how much value there is in being gay and being himself, and how being something you're not makes you feel miserable and, at worst, kills people. The other gay guys in the show have that moment too where they question their reality and see if they're worth it, and Queer Duck helps them. He helps them figure out to enjoy their life honestly and being open about who they are at the same time. In fact, it's so powerful that the homophobic reverend that to try to convert all of the gays at Fairyland becomes gay at the end. Yeah, he didn't just help Oscar Wildcat reunite with his lover, bipolar bear fulfill his dreams of a baseball player, he helped a reverend become gay. Queer Duck the movie takes these to help Queer Duck and learn the value of his identity as a gay man in the world. Even Lola is a fun addition to the cast in the movie, having her own snazzy flair, sure to be a hit with queer men watching this. Queer Duck the movie is a love letter to the show and also the queer community as a whole, taking serious aspects and making jokes that are handled with care and love, such as Gay Day, the power of conversion therapy, and the power of Barbara Streisand. Heck, even the music is really catchy and funny as well. Let's Play Gay Baseball has been stuck in my head for the past 2 weeks, and I can't get it out of my head. I love this movie, and I love this show. So, to summarize, what makes Queer Duck so iconic and well-deserved of the attention it's getting on TikTok is because it's an indirect love letter to the queer community and a time capsule of what it was like to be queer in the early 2000s, where most of us are gonna see more normative and more respectful queer identities. It's fun to see those that were have to hide or were deemed awful and all that, and seeing Queer Duck in its raw, authentic form is amazing. And the best part about it is you can watch the whole show for free on YouTube. That's right, Icebox TV uploaded their whole catalog, I think, and Queer Duck is there for you to watch, all 20 episodes. The movie, you can buy the DVD for like $5 on eBay. I'm probably getting it after the recording of this video, so please check it out and make sure to watch Queer Duck, especially if you're a queer person and want to see more queer shows. Thank you so much, and Queer Duck is amazing. I'm gay as a goose. Okay, thank you so much for sticking around for this mini video. Hopefully it's not too long, but I'm really glad you guys are watching it, and I definitely wanted to make a video on it, because there's no way I could pass up on the opportunity. Yeah, I was serious when I said I wanted to keep a bookmark on queer as folk and the L word. The L word may be a little back since, well, I'm not WLW or lesbian, so I can't really talk about it, but queer as folk, I'm definitely have a few thoughts on it, but I have another video coming up that's gonna surprise a good amount of people. I can't wait until y'all watch it, but in the meantime, make sure to follow my Twitter, follow my Instagram, follow my TikTok if you want to see more queer, like, history and all that, or just see me. Follow my YouTube, which you're looking at it right here, and if you want to just chill and chat, check out my Discord, and if you have any money, try to donate to my Ko-fi. Any support counts. But thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.